The Pacifying Police Unit, abbreviated UPP, is a law enforcement and social services program pioneered in the state of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, which aims at reclaiming territories, more commonly favelas, controlled by gangs of drug dealers. The program was created and implemented by State Public Security Secretary José Mariano Beltrame, with the backing of Rio Governor Sérgio Cabral. The stated goal of Rio's government is to install 40 UPPs by 2014. By May 2013, 231 favelas had come under the UPP umbrella. Background: for decades, many of Rio de Janeiro's favelas have been controlled by gangs of armed drug traffickers, beginning with the first UPP that was implemented in Mata in 2008. Many of Rio's major favelas have received pacifying police forces. For decades, Rio has seen a cycle of police raiding favelas, having shootouts with traffickers, and then withdrawing again. And also part of the cycle were frequent wars between different traffickers, leading to more shootouts, endangering the lives of the people living in many of these favelas. The favelas chosen for the UPP program have previously not paid for public utilities but would have to pay fees to whatever criminal organization controlled the area. This often leads to a recurrence of extortion and tax evasion. Therefore, the concept for the UPP was finally put into action as a first-step solution to deal with the urban cycle of violence. Implementation: before UPP is established in a favela area, gang leaders are driven out by Rio's elite police battalion, BOPE, who search for heavy weaponry and drug caches. The inauguration of a new UPP is timed with the exit of BOPE from the area and the replacement of hundreds of newly trained policemen, who work within the particular area of favelas as a permanent police force. As of September 2013, 34 UPPs have been established within Rio de Janeiro, with the stated goal of Rio's government to install 40 UPPs by 2014. Some UPPs, such as Favelas, only cover the territory of one specific favela, while other UPPs such as Manguinhos or Jacarezinho also each cover smaller favela communities under their administrative umbrella. Other favelas that now have UPPs include Cidade de Deus, Mata, and Morro da Babilônia. In general, where the UPPs have been implemented, violent crime has fallen dramatically, while property values have increased. Results: because the favelas with UPPs had formerly been controlled by armed drug traffickers for more than 25 years, the fear of retribution, which was a mainstay of the law of the traffickers, is slow to die. For instance, in April 2012, when a drug trafficker who had formerly controlled the favela of Mangueira was shot and killed during a police operation in Jacarezinho, others from the same criminal faction ordered businesses to close their doors early in Mangueira, which they did. This despite the fact that Mangueira has a permanent pacification police force as part of its own UPP. A similar occurrence of businesses closing the doors early in Mangueira because the traffickers ordered it occurred in February 2013. In May 2012, Beltrame acknowledged that armed criminals had migrated from parts of Rio that have a large police presence due to pacification, to areas with less police and no UPPs, such as Niterói, which is nearby, across the bay. Beltrame has stated, however, that he believes, based on analysis of crime data, that only gang leaders higher in the hierarchy could re-establish again other favela communities, and that lower-level traffickers have a much harder time integrating into other geographic areas. While the favela areas under pacification have seen improvements, there has been an increase in the concentration of criminals in other parts of Rio de Janeiro. Janeiro that don't have the direct benefits of permanent pacification police forces actively patrolling these neighborhoods. Among these areas are those of the Baixada de Fluminense, Niterói, and certain neighborhoods in the North Zone. It was obvious early on that criminals were fleeing particular favelas before BOPE entered to establish a groundwork for a permanent police presence. Previously, when police had attempted to encircle a favela by surprise in order to arrest and kill traffickers, large-scale shootouts would ensue, and innocent favela residents were caught in the crossfire. While more high-profile gang leaders have been forced to leave favelas now administered by UPP police forces, the familial connections remain. Also, gang members from other favelas who are of the same faction as residents under UPPs still coordinate and visit each other. Exemplifying this point, one of Rio's newspapers reported on July 9, 2012 that groups of criminals fired upon police in different locations within the Complexo do Maio on the same day that military forces completed the final withdrawal from the area. There is a well-known history of police abuse and corruption in Rio de Janeiro, and for years this only added fuel to the war between drug traffickers controlling Rio's favelas and the police. In recent years there have been concerted efforts under Secretary Beltrame to root out corrupt police, and this is the very reason that the community policing of the favelas under the UPP program are staffed by new recruits coming straight from the UPP Police Academy, such as the 750 officers who will be policing the large Rochinho favela beginning in August 2012. Beltrame has stated that the main purpose of the UPPs is more towards stopping armed men from ruling the streets than to put an end to drug trafficking. A 2010 report by the World Organization Against Torture did note the drop in the homicide rate within Rio de Janeiro's favelas. Other indicators: a survey that was conducted among Rio's favela residents in July 2012 showed that there has been a reduction in the number of violent crimes and deaths. Other crimes that previously went unreported in favelas are now showing up in the crime statistics, such as theft, domestic violence, and rape. Other results of the survey showed that people felt more free to discuss previously taboo topics such as street violence and illegal drug activity, but many are still intimidated to speak out, fearing that the UPP measure is only temporary. Unemployment is reportedly quite low in some South Zone favelas such as Pavozinho, where the unemployment rate was reported as 5% in July 2012, compared with neighborhoods in the North Zone where life is often more difficult, where the median income is 34.4% less than in pacified favelas in the South Zone. In the South Zone favela of Chapiacutu Mangueira, 92.2% of residents own a cell phone. Journalists within Rio studying ballot results from the 2012 municipal elections observed that those living within favelas administered by UPPs distributed the votes among a wider spectrum of candidates compared to areas controlled by drug lords or other organized crime groups such as militias. Violence. On July 23, 2012, the first police officer to die in UPP-administered favela was shot and killed by criminals within the Nova Brasilia area of the Complexo do Maio. At the time of the shooting, the female officer, 30-year-old Fabiana Aparecida de Souza, who had only been on the force a few months, was at a small UPP station within the favela when the building was shot at by 12 assailants and she was hit in the abdomen by a rifle bullet. 10 minutes before this occurred, 8 assailants shot at 2 officers patrolling the Pedra de Sapo part of the Complexo, but nobody was injured. The previous week, police were patrolling the area of Fazendina within the Complexo when they were attacked 2 different times. In one of the incidents, a grenade was thrown which exploded near the patrol car. UPPs in Rio de Janeiro.